What is going on, everyone? I am Josh with 625 Media, and it is Vlog Sunday. I'm still trying to work out how I really want to say that, but we're going to talk about stats. We're going to talk September grades, and then we're going to talk about where my mind is for the month of October from the attic. I'm getting to the point where all I got to say is from the attic. Not. But thank you for joining me on this. I'm going to call this the first Sunday of fall because it finally feels like fall here in Ohio, or at least my part of Ohio. And it's like yesterday, it wasn't even really that cold out. And, I was out mowing my yard yesterday afternoon, and it finally hit me that it was fall because when I was mowing my front yard, I've got this big tree out in my front yard. And when I'm mowing my front yard, instead of using the grass line to kind of guide the mower, I could use the line of eviscerated leaves as a guide of where I've already mowed. So that was my first indication that it was actually fall. That, and it was like 60 degrees in the house when I woke up yesterday. So yes, it's fall. I'm a big fan of fall, like this part of fall, like where it's kind of chilly at night, but it's not too bad during the day, and a hoodie is appropriate all the time. That's my comfort zone. But hopefully it sticks around a lot longer than what it usually does, and that winter doesn't come too soon. Trying to find a bright spot here. But we're going to talk stats for the month of September, and briefly talk stats for the month of September. We're going to talk grades for the month of September briefly, but then we're really going to go in depth and talk about where my thoughts are for the month of October and really for the fourth quarter. Because last week we talked, and it was my mindset is really changing about how we're going to judge our success and how we're going to set our goals as we move forward. So let's not waste any more time. And let's get into the progress of our efforts. So, September, the final numbers. So, blog views. We ended the month of September with 583 views. So, again, as we talked last week, and we still had two days left in the month, we met the blog view goal for the month of September, and we actually had more than 200 views more than the month of August. So from a numbers standpoint, feel good. Congratulations. We did it. I'm celebrating it, but in the back of my head, I'm going, I don't know how much of that I really earned, because as we've talked about each week, that was due to activity on social media and like click through and share threads in different groups. So while hey, look, we're growing. We're showing growth. It feels a little cheap. Like there should be an asterisk, but like Barry Bonds' home run record. That's a reference that some kids may not get. But yeah, so we met our goal. T-shirt revenues. I didn't even change this on the graphic from last week. We are going to have a new focus in the month of October. Then voiceover. So I actually got to audition for 2 audiobooks before the end of the month. So, and we know that I didn't get those. I have auditioned for 5 more in the last week, and I got a good response late last night, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But effort. Keep doing it, and good things will happen. So that's really all I want to talk about for stats for the month of September. I don't want to talk much about October because, as we hopefully you gathered from last week, stats aren't going to be that big a deal as we go into this month and maybe even the rest of this quarter. Yes, we want to pay attention to those. Yes, especially for the blog. For it to be a successful side venture, we need it to have numbers. But we'll get there. So let's talk grades. Let's talk about the grades for the month of September. And other than the one black mark there, I'm feeling pretty good about where we ended. overall. So for the blog, we had an A minus. We had 583 views. It was our best traffic month ever. It was 200 and some more than the previous month. We also were very consistent with our content. We didn't miss anything. There wasn't anything that got in our way from posting the things that we wanted to post. We launched new content, Workout Wednesday. I've actually really found that to be a good addition. The reaction at first has been decent. It hasn't been, tremendous, like thousands of people are flocking to me reading scripts. Although the first 3 have launched at this point, I've got 3 more that are ready to go. And after those first 3, I made a few editing decisions or production decisions to help enhance it a little bit. I'll be hopefully adding more, and that's kind of in the spirit of what we're doing. We want to do something for a little bit, assess what it is, and see if there's any way we can improve it. So basically, and you'll see it on Wednesday. I've actually added a second camera. Yeah, I added a second camera to just kind of break it up a little bit and be a little artsy, But the blog, feel really good about where we were in September. Social media. So I gave myself a B minus for social media. Now, we know from our stat tracking from September, we didn't grow much as far as social media goes, except for Twitter. We tripled our Twitter following. Yes, it wasn't, if you think triple and you have 1,000 followers, then now you're at 3,000 followers. Our numbers aren't that big, but our efforts tripled our numbers. So let's feel good about that. We also utilize social media to help us achieve our blog number goals. And I felt that, we were consistent with that, and that's why we got the numbers that we did. So I felt like we used it a little bit better in the month of September. We're going to talk about, how our focus is going to change there in a little bit. But for this month and, the goals that we had set and the efforts that we had, B minus. T-shirts, F. Nothing more to say there. We did nothing, so F. Voiceover. So this is a grade that has been climbing since the beginning, and we've put in more effort each month when it comes to our voiceover side gigs. So we actually auditioned for some gigs in the month of September. We launched new content centered on voiceover and vocal practice, and it's definitely been in the forefront of our thoughts as we've moved through the month of September. So that's why we're getting an A minus this month for voiceover. We've definitely continued that here into the month of October. We're 6 days into October, and I've already auditioned for twice as many gigs as I did in September. So it created momentum. It created good momentum, and that effort is really why the grade is so high. So let's talk overall. So overall, B plus, and this is better than it was last month as well. It's not really based on the goals, because if we based all of these grades on goals, we'd probably be at like a C minus, because we only met 2 goals last month. We met our blog number goal, and we met our new content goal, which was to launch 1 new segment in the month of September. So we met those 2 goals. We had, a lot more effort with voiceover, even though we didn't get any paying gigs. The blog efforts, again, were the best yet for a month-to-month numbers-wise. And then this is the part that I think I'm proudest of when it comes to what I'm doing, because much of our efforts, much of our thoughts, much of our goals were all about the moment, all about the present, and none of it was about the future. Even though you could make a connection to say, well, if I grow my social media following and I hit these goals, that's going to help me in the future. But the goal was really about my effort in that time. And last week, hopefully you gained this from this, but I started to shift my mindset from, okay, this month I have to do this, to what can I do in this month to ensure that the next month I can build on that. And that's really that forward future thinking when it comes to the goals and strategy. That's really what I'm proudest of. Other than the voiceover, I think I'm pretty proud of the fact that I really put some efforts forward in voiceover. The fact that I'm starting to look forward, the fact that I'm not just so blinded by what I'm doing at this very moment that I can't see the bigger picture. I am looking at the bigger picture, and that's a really good feeling to have. It honestly, this last week, it's taken a huge burden off of all these efforts. So B+ overall. Yeah, I deserve that. I'm not gonna pull any punches. I deserve that. I made some really good efforts. Yes, I spent a lot of time. In the attic, but I can feel the difference since last week, and I've not spent as much time. I didn't even come up here on Friday, and usually Fridays, I know I've got a little bit more time because I don't have to work Saturday. I can take my time. I didn't even bother with it on Friday. So yes, feeling good, feeling great. How are you? So, real quick. So we've been auditioning for audiobooks, and, we're going to get some no's. My voice is not for everyone. It's not for every piece of content that I'm in an audition. I understand that. And I'm okay with someone saying no. That's fine. I mean, it's the worst that's going to happen here. And we have to be able to take that and take that well. So kudos to myself. I hate to... I mean, this is about me, so come on. I'm not trying to be that way. What was that? Anyway. So it hasn't been fruitful yet, but it's been good experience. I'm learning little things each time I do an audition, which is also very, very useful moving forward. But last night I came up here to do a little bit of prep for today. I got my outline together. I got some of my graphics together before I went to bed, and I was just thinking to myself, I didn't get all the auditions I wanted to get done today. I did 2 yesterday. I wanted to do 3, but one of them was very lengthy, and the third one I wanted to do was also very lengthy. So I was like, you know what? Let's try to get a third one. Let's see if we can find a short one that we can put together quickly. So I got my graphics together pretty quickly, and I went on ACX and just looked to see what was there. I didn't, focus on, the amount of money or, what type of income it would be, whether it be royalty share or payment per finished hour. And I found a short one that I could knock out in about 30 minutes. It was about 9:30. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this one. And that 30 minutes is reading everything and then processing the audio, getting it uploaded. So I read it, and I'll admit it wasn't my favorite thing to read, but it wasn't necessarily terrible. I kind of understood the concept. I understood what the author was trying to get at, and I was like, okay, all right, I'll bite. Let's try to ride this wave. So I record it, and it wasn't my best effort. I mean, I'd been recording all morning. I'd mowed the yard, dealing with the kids. I cooked dinner, and then, so, I wasn't my sharpest, but it wasn't terrible. So I was like, you know what? Let's see what happens. So I'm laying in bed last night, and Brittany and I, we're watching TV, or I'm watching a video or something like that, and I get a message, an email message from ACX, and I see kind of what the text says, but I was like, you know what? I'll read it tomorrow. I don't need to read it right now. I'll read it tomorrow. So I got up this morning, and I opened my email as I usually do, and it's from the author of the book that I auditioned for last night. And it says, "Hi, I like your style." Okay, that's a good confidence boost early in the morning. I already have someone picked out for this book. But I'd love for you to do the other book in this series. So maybe we might have a gig. Maybe. I'm feeling pretty good about it though. I do need to message this author back and get everything set up, but our efforts, we put in the effort, and good things happen. So if I'm feeling a little braggy this morning, that's why. I'm feeling pretty good about that, and it's the culmination of what was a good month for us. So let's talk about moving forward. September, we set a bunch of numbers goals, and while we didn't meet those numbers goals, we really thought about the efforts that we had to put in. And it was really, again, it was more momentary efforts. Okay, what do I need to do now to ensure by the end of the month I have those numbers, which you could argue is a forward-thinking kind of goal. But it was very based on a benchmark and deadline. And while those are useful goals, I want to make sure that we start looking at what we're doing to ensure that in the future, this is something that is worth our time. Because I don't want to just go month to month and go, hey, we met these numbers. Hey, we met these numbers. And then realize that we met these numbers, but have we actually grown? Have we actually solidified the foundation for the blog or for our voiceover efforts or for t-shirts for that matter? So in the month of October, I want to make sure that our goals are more about strategy than they are numbers and benchmarks. So I sat down last night and I put together what I feel are the strategy goals that I want to pursue for the month of September. Now, here's the caveat. I'm not going to put a bunch of stress on myself to make sure that all of these goals get met. Here's why. These are goals that we can carry over, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when I get into the voiceover. But these are the type of goals that we can, okay, if we didn't get to it this month, we can carry that into next month and try to implement it then, just to make sure that we don't lose sight of that goal that we wanted to put forward. So I'm not going to necessarily be like, oh, we're meeting our goals. We're not meeting our goals. But we will be talking about the things that we're doing as we move through the month of October and through this last quarter of 2019. So for the blog in October, really just making sure that we continue the efforts that we've put in. So making sure that we're putting content up consistently, which we've done a very good job of. I want to be better at reusing content. And we talked about that a little bit last week. So segments like this, where I'm just talking and kind of verbalizing the thoughts that I have, which kind of helps me work things out, but also can bring up some interesting points for maybe you to think about as you go through your side hustles. But I want to make sure that we're better at reusing content to make sure that we're keeping a fresh cycle of things. Even if it's old content, we can still freshen up the blog a little bit. And here's another opportunity for you. Again, a lot of this stuff at the end gets lost because the Vlog Sunday segment is so long. And I want to make sure that some of the points, some of them are good points, some of them are not so much. It doesn't mean I'm going to take the end of every Vlog Sunday and repost it. But I think there's some useful things that maybe you can benefit from. And then I also want to make sure that we launch one new content idea outside of that. So we have two in the works. One is the one I'm calling Lab Work. Sorry, I had to itch my ear. I'm one of those people that has to itch. Like some people have very good control. Like they can really ignore it, but I'm not. I think it's just because I'm always super caffeinated and fidgety. Let me compound the problem with more coffee. But I have two new content ideas in the making. One is the lab work concept that I have in my head. I haven't actually started to produce any of that yet. I also have the sock puppet that I really, really still want to do. I want to make sure that I launch one of those two concepts this month at some point. So that's really where we are. Blog, vlog. If you notice, the only number there is the number of content ideas I want to launch. So it's a total 180 from how we viewed the blog the last few months. Social media. So I want to make a better effort to be more engaged, and that doesn't just mean sharing posts. I want to do more than that, because that's really what we've done. We've kind of taken the approach that, honestly, it's an approach I take a lot when it comes to crowds. I'm not good in crowds. I'm not afraid of crowds. I'm just not very, very good in a crowd. I'm the guy that will, hey, I'm here, and then I'm going to sit back, and maybe you'll notice me, maybe you won't, but I'm here. That's kind of how we've been on social media. So I want to make sure that we do more than that. I've already started to pre-schedule some posts that really just ask some questions to try to get some engagement that way. But I also have to do the opposite. I have to engage other people's questions, and not necessarily questions directed toward me, but any conversations that I might find interesting. Let's get engaged. Let's really show that we are an active member of the community and try to network a little bit more that way. We're still going to be attempting to grow, and by grow, gain more followers. But I'm not setting any numbers goals. I want to see what just those efforts of just being engaged do for us. And then maybe as we move forward, maybe again at some point we can set some numbers goals. But I don't think that that's a good thing for us to do, because again, and I talked about it a few weeks ago, there's this phenomenon where you get followers, but then, a week later, some of those followers drop off. It happens. You clean out your list of friends and people that, why am I friends with this person? Unfollow, So we want to make sure that people that are following us because they like the engagement, and not just because we got some cheap follows. So that's what we'll try to do with social media this month. We'll see if it works. We'll see if I can actually do it. That's going to be the challenge, is actually being engaged with the limited time that I have. But hey, we got to do it at some point. Voiceover. So, voiceover is one area where we made some good efforts, but a lot of the goals that I set in September were strategy goals. I think the one numbers goal I set was I wanted one paying gig in the month of September. Okay, we didn't get there, but we have these goals that we want to do that we didn't necessarily get to. So we wanted to do a better demo reel. We wanted to create a better promotional video. We wanted to create a resume. We didn't do any of those in September, which is where I fell short with voiceover, even though we auditioned for some gigs and really started to make that at the forefront. These are things that I definitely have to do with. As much as I'm auditioning now, I need a better demo reel. I already have an idea for a better promo video. I just got to sit down and do it. And then a resume, we may not get to the resume this month, because a resume is really a collection of jobs you've actually done. So your work experience, we have none. So a resume is not going to be very beneficial at this point. But once we start getting a few gigs, that's when we can start to build that resume a little bit, and really start putting that out there. So here's what I've done. Here's what I did. Go check it out. We're going to continue to audition for audiobook gigs. I think these are easy auditions to do. Now, they're time consuming, and some of the auditions are lengthy, which may contradict they're easy to do. I'll tell you, I spent about 2 hours on one yesterday. That was only a few pages, about 2,000 words. And that was just recording it because, you get in a groove and then you stumble over yourself, as I do frequently. And then you have to go through and edit that and process that. You end up with about 15 minutes of audio, but you've spent 2 hours creating that. So it's time consuming, it's tedious, but it's not necessarily difficult to do. So we'll definitely start doing that a little bit more, just to kind of see, what kind of gains we can get from that. And then we can use some of that work to help build the demo reel. So that's really where we are with voiceover. Again, feeling good with the momentum and want to want that momentum to carry us forward when it comes to that. So here's the part that not necessarily happy with, and it was one of the things that we had really good momentum with to begin with. I felt really good. I was designing something once a week, or even once every few days. But that was the t-shirts. I need to find my rhythm again with that. I have some ideas. I know the ideas that I want to put forward. I gotta sit down and do it. And I'm not sure why I'm having the trouble, or I'm struggling to do a design, but I am. I have ideas. I've got to find the motivation. If I can't find that motivation, I need to decide if it's something that I want to move forward. I've said the comment, cut the fat. We've talked about it week over week. I'm not making any money from it. It's just sitting there. But I'm not ready to give it up yet. But I need to start seriously looking at, is it going to be something that I'll be able to maintain moving forward? And I don't think that decision comes this month. I don't think it comes in the next 3 months. But I think next year, when we probably will just totally reset our thoughts and go, okay, where are we? We've got a whole year now. It's a new year. Let's rethink things. We'll see what happens there. But I really need to make sure that I'm putting the effort in when it comes to t-shirts this month, next month, December, because it's a prime time. I mean, we can do some very, very festive things with that in some very seasonal designs. I don't know why I'm finding it hard to put that stuff out there. I mean, Halloween's still kind of a month away. We could put out a few designs centered around Halloween, and then Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. Then we have Valentine's Day after that, and then it's spring. I mean, why couldn't we start designing for the seasons and really try to get those things out there? I mean, I think that's what you're going to want to really focus on at first, but I got to find the motivation. So I guess my question to you guys, how do you motivate yourself when it comes to something that you want to do it, and you know that you could do it, and you've done it before? It just kind of gets pushed off, and it's still in your mind, but you haven't been able to bring yourself to sit down and do it. How do you find the motivation? I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about that. I know that I find motivation. I mean, it sounds very materialistic and superficial, but money is a big motivation for me. That's why I started doing this, is why I'm putting the effort into this each day, each week, each month. I like to be creative. I really enjoy the voiceover aspect of it. I always had this fantasy of maybe being an actor of some kind. But I don't have the chops for that. I'm not a great actor, but I discovered that I have a decent voice and I like to use it. So that's why, I'm motivated to do the voiceover. But I've always loved graphic design. I can't bring myself to do it right now, and I don't know why. So I'm interested to hear how you guys motivate yourselves outside of money. And I don't want just the answer, well, my family, my kids. Oh, okay. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I mean, I want money not just because I want money. I want money because I have 3 other people that depend on me. So, yeah, that's probably a given. I want specifics. I want to know what your deep thoughts are about it. And I'm really curious to hear it. So make sure that you're hitting me up on social media, and then also here on the blog in the comments. If you want to keep it here, I'd love to hear what you have to say when it comes to getting yourself motivated. So that's where we're headed, and I know it's not exciting, but we talked about it last week. We talked about it the week before. We've talked about it in previous months. We really need to be thinking about our goals and what are our goals really? Are they benchmarks? Do we want to just feel good about hitting numbers, or do we want to make something that can be sustained? And I think this is the first moment that I've really said, this is something that I want to sustain. This is something that I want to be able to continue to do without just sitting up here spinning my wheels, wasting time. Because if I'm wasting my time doing this, I could have been doing something else. Or I could just put in extra time at work and get a little bit extra money. I mean, that's where we are. And I don't want to spend a ton of time away from home, even though that I'm, spending a ton of time in the attic, and, maybe the people that depend on you, or depend on me at least, are, feeling like you're away from home. So what's the trade-off really? I'm happy that I'm having those thoughts, because it means that we're growing internally. Does that make sense? No, I'm not getting bigger, but our thoughts are maturing about what it is that we're doing here. Instead of, I'm just making stuff. I'm actually trying to build something at this point. And my thought process is now saying, build something. Don't just do something, build something. So let's see where that takes us. We'll know very quickly whether or not it's the right decision or not. But if we don't do it, we'll never know. We'll just keep doing the same thing that we were. And is that really the best thing? Maybe it was. Maybe it's not. And not changing and not finding out, doing this experiment, because it's all experiments for me. Yeah, I'm reading a little bit here and there, but the more I read, the less impressed I am with the advice that I'm getting. Especially blog-wise. Get on Pinterest. Pin 30 things a day. No, I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? I have a job. I can't sit on Pinterest all day. Yeah. I know. Pinterest is big for blogging, and if you have the time and effort, it's going to be very rewarding, but some of us have jobs. Some of us have actual jobs. Not taking away from your blogging job, because you're giving me advice and you're making tons of money, more money than I'm making at my job doing a blog. So all the respect in the world for that. But no, I'm not going to sit on Pinterest all day. Thank you very much. That's all. That's it. We're done. We're done for this week. Yeah, it's a longer episode, but it needed to be longer because we're really talking about strategy and our mindset moving forward. Hopefully, I've given you some ideas or some thoughts for your own efforts, and maybe some ways to rethink how you're judging your success or how you're judging your growth. But if you have any ideas, some things that maybe I'm not thinking about, or some things that maybe I've missed when it comes to setting some growth goals and really more strategy over numbers goals, hit me up on social media. Yeah. 625 Media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, Mix. Yes. All of those things. Also, be on the lookout for Workout Wednesday this Wednesday. I don't remember which one's coming out on Wednesday. I don't know, but I've, added a little bit to it, and hopefully you enjoy that. And then, yeah, of course, Vlog Sunday, every Sunday. I love my conversations with you. I really, really do. Even though it's really more a one-way conversation, and I'm hoping that, you just sit here and listen to me talk. But that's it. I'm Josh for 625 Media and From the Attic. Nope, nothing. I'll see you.